Hey guys, what's up? It's Megan from Sola Luna Yoga, and today I want to talk a little bit about really connection, relationship, and balanced action. So, what we find quite a bit, generally speaking, in the body when we look at someone's overall structural alignment is we tend to have dominant muscle groups that tend to really kind of overtake a bit, and then we find that there are quite a few muscle groups in the body that are quite a bit weaker. And so the intention in this particular style of teaching is to bring more healthy relationship and balanced action to the body so that not one muscle group is overworking and dominating, and not one muscle group is really kind of sleepy or underworking or not engaging. And so what we tend to see, again, generally speaking, across the board, what I see a lot in my students and people when I'm just observing in general everyday experience is oftentimes you'll see overdeveloped sternocleidomastoids to the front of the neck. Another dominant muscle group that we'll see quite a bit is the trapezius here. Another one, a big one, is the quadriceps. They're just one of the larger muscle groups in the body, and they tend to take over quite a bit. These are three that come to mind off the top of my head. We can go more into depth, but we'll kind of focus on those three for today's teaching. So what we want to do is start focusing on, okay, well, why are these muscles dominant, and what can we do to get them to back off, and where can we find balanced action with the muscle groups that are maybe not quite doing the work that they should be. And so one of the things that we can focus on right away is we'll start with the quads and just kind of work our way up through the body in that way. So the quads here, again, being very dominant, very strong, and what we tend to see quite a bit is a big disconnect to the hamstrings and the glutes. And so what we can do in every single pose that we're working in the practice, I'm going to use a kind of a resting pose that's simulating more of an Utkatasana variation. And so I place my feet so that they're about hip width distance apart and parallel. And one of the ways that I can get my hamstrings and my glutes to become more connected and more engaged is going to be to press my toes down powerfully to the mat. So especially the big toe, that's going to be a big, huge one that we really want to connect with, but all of the toes for that matter. So I place my feet so that they're actively pressing down into the floor, the arches are lifting. The next thing that I want to apply is pressing the knees apart energetically, isometrically. So I'm not actually moving the knees, I'm just pressing them out powerfully. And what this does is it broadens the pelvic floor, but it also gets the glutes to tone and firm. And so the intention is that we're toning the glutes and firming them towards the sacrum here. And this is where we start to create that kind of bowspring energy, which Sri Daiva is speaking to. So in this particular variation, when I work my toes and my knees apart, then the hamstrings and the glutes will become more engaged, allowing the quads to release some. The next thing that we can do is lift to the balls of the feet, so lifting the heels. This is another trick that will get the musculature of the back body to engage, specifically, again, the calves, the hamstrings, and the glutes. Okay, so we've addressed this particular issue with the quads. And so moving up from here, again, the trapezius muscles, I notice this most when I'm surfing. So when I'm paddling, I'll just pay attention, and I'm like, gosh, my traps are really gripping, and I can tell that they're overworking. And so what I find to remedy that is creating more of an arching pattern here when I'm paddling. So if I lift and actually lift my heart up more fully away from my surfboard, and I bring more connection and intention to getting my erectors here along the spine, all the way up into the rhomboids and the back of the neck, then I start to notice that the traps will actually begin to release and not work quite so hard. The next one that we can focus on, like I said, the sternocleidomastoids. So that's another one that we'll see in yoga specifically. We'll notice that they're grabbing and gripping quite often in poses. And so one of the things that I find most useful to remedy that is bringing the hands to the back of the head. So I draw my elbows in like so, expanding the backside of the heart, and I press my head back powerfully into the grasp of the hands. So if I do this in a pose, again, like Utkatasana here, then I can allow for the sternocleidomastoids to release the front of the neck softens here, and the back of the neck becomes more engaged. So in any variation that you apply, hands to the back of the head pressing back, will achieve this. So the balanced action, the connection physically is such it's such an important part of our experience in life. And so it goes so much more deeply than just the physical structural alignment. It's really a practice to become more connected to not only ourselves, but to one another. And so the intention is that we work together collectively for the greater good, so that not one person is overworking, not one is underworking, but everybody's working together in a harmonious, balanced relationship for the overall greater good. And that's the same intention here in our body, and that's why we apply these teachings first physically, so that we can carry them over into our everyday experiences, which is where we need the most assistance and help. So thank you so much for checking it out, and we'll have more to come, so subscribe if you haven't already done so.